All right, I see you, but if you can hear my voice clap once, if you can hear my voice clap twice, I catch my class like that too, so you're now officially my class, so don't tell my other class that. I'm Jimmy Freeman, and I've been working with students for 14 years. I've only been teaching for 2, though. I've had the privilege of working with great people over the past year and the year before, and most of them are only 4 feet tall. Some of the questions that I get asked every day are, what does the DC in Washington, D.C. stand for? How many brothers do you have, and are you the shortest? Did you always want to be a teacher, and why? Does the principal know you have tattoos? But when they really start to trust you, the questions become more about them. Why can't I throw a ball like that? Why are you the only one that's able to talk to me like you do? Why don't I eat every day at home? Being a teacher is the best job any one person can have. Now, the reason that can't be answered in one quick explanation. But when you find that answer for yourself, then you're great from there. What I'm going to be doing today is going through 5 lessons a teacher should know or try to know. And I'm going to start with lesson number 1. Kids are kids. Little girl over there reaching out every time. Kids are kids, all right? But when kids come into my class and they enter the school, they get greeted by the biggest kid there. All right, I'm not only a teacher, I'm not only there to teach, I'm there to learn. The only difference between my lesson plan and them asking me questions is they don't have to take a week to plan out what they want to say. They're usually very honest with me because they trust me. And all kids are kids, and all kids need one thing, that person to listen. They need someone to listen to them. Even if they don't speak back, they just want to be heard. I had one gentleman last year, I call my guys who leave my class gentlemen because you're no longer a boy because you've just been through my class. It's like a course. Now you're a gentleman. So one gentleman last year, 2 weeks before school started, his cousin was killed. A week after school started, his uncle died. And we usually use this phrase too often, you're too young to be stressed. Well, that little guy was stressed, and he just needed someone to listen to him. And I listened, and I related. There was another gentleman of mine who had a speech impediment. And because of that, he didn't have too much friends because no one would stop and take the time to try to listen to him. But I sat down with him every day last year, and I listened to him. Now, I'll be honest with you, when we first started talking, I had no idea what he was saying. I didn't, but I didn't interrupt him. I let him talk. And with all the uninterrupted talking that he got through to me, he was able to improve on his speech. And now we speak every day. He's a 5th grader now, but we speak every day. By the way, I teach 4th grade. If you keep on hearing me saying 5th grade, and I'm a 4th grade teacher. But all kids need that person just to listen. Now, if you didn't know this lesson for lesson 2, all kids are different. Not every kid is going to come to you with the same problem. All kids need something, and that something may not be the same for every kid. Now, as a teacher, you have many roles to play in class. You don't just have the teacher role. You may have that title, but that is not your role. Some of the roles that I've acquired is a bodyguard. So when my smallest students in my class get bullied. The bad guy, when my class is a little too loud or acting up and I have to cut recess to go back over expectations. I'm also a father figure for those who need a male in their life. I'm also another male role model for those who just need someone else. I'm an uncle for those parents who say no to candy, but Uncle Freeman will say yes. So, what else am I in class? I'm sorry about that. Also a janitor before and after my kids leave the class. I'm a cafeteria worker because there may not be enough ketchup when my class gets in there. or there may not be enough seats when we go to sit down at our tables. I'm a guidance counselor for those kids who come in crying because their parents had an argument and they think it's their fault. When you start to understand your class, you're going to start understanding the roles that you have to take on, kind of like a mind reader. Because you know right before the test, 3 students are going to get up and have to use the restroom. You know that one kid is going to finish early and he needs something to do, so you're going to make him your assistant and send him to go run some paper somewhere. You know that you have to sit that one kid in the back of the classroom, not because he's bad, but halfway through the lesson, he's going to stand up. That kid. Being a teacher, like I said, is just one of your roles, but that's the last one you pick up during the day. Lesson 3, make every lesson your own. Now, if you were given a lesson to teach, that's just the guideline. Why I say that? Because not every teacher is the same. Just like all of your students are different, you're different as well. I don't believe that there's a chart on how someone is supposed to teach, because there's no chart on how every student is supposed to act. This year I have a sports theme in my class, and we're encouraged at our school to give each one of our students a job to make them feel more responsible. Now last year I tried to implement this, but I wasn't as enthusiastic as I should. And being a teacher and a role model, they look at me first. And if I wasn't interested, they weren't either. So it didn't go too well. But this year, I have coaches, defensive ends, team captains, team liaisons, equipment managers, everything they need to where they would be able to interact with this lesson, all while following the guidelines of the school. Okay? Now, I encourage you all to get something or do something and put your passion in it, but make sure you stay in the guidelines so you don't get in trouble. And having a sports-themed classroom, you would think that my boys would always want the job or always have the jobs. I've never had one week where a girl was not a coach or a captain. My girls run the school. Lesson 4. I have zero control over my class. As of right now, I have zero control over my class. Keep in mind that I did not say I have no control over my class. What we put in place of that control is respect. And we respect each other enough to do our jobs. My job is to teach, your job is to learn. They respect me enough to allow me, because students don't have to let you do it. They allow me to do my job. And oftentimes that respect keeps the classroom flowing, and sometimes they keep me on task because I like to play around as well. I feel as though if someone says they have control over someone else, that someone else can't wait to get away from that person controlling them. Now, let's do the numbers. I have 25 kids in my homeroom class. I have 21 kids in my switching class. Those are the kids that have to come to me. They're made to come to me. But I have one 4th grader who's not in my class. He comes to me every morning just to shake my hand and tell me good morning. That's it. And he leaves. We shake hands and he walks out. I have 3 5th grade ladies. I call them ladies. Like I said, my girls graduate as well. They're called ladies. They come back to my class until 7:17 a.m. just so they can wake up. That's their job. They come in, they sit down at the desk like they're supposed to be in my class, and they're really not. But they come and sit down. I have 15 5th grade boys who pick their pants up on the way in my class just to tell me about their journeys they had on the way from yesterday all the way up to my door. But they come and talk to me. Now, I felt like if I had control over these students, they wouldn't come back. But since we have that respect, they come back to the house that we built. And one of the last lessons, clearly me, men matter. Now, being a man, I think we matter. Now, but seriously, men matter in education. Not just black men, but men in general. Now, what I was going to do is load you guys up with stats at the end of my lesson, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you some of my examples of leading as a male in the school. I notice my gentlemen wiping their feet as they come into the door because they see me do it. I notice my gentlemen, my 15 other ones, pull up their pants because they found out that this belt is not a fashion statement, it actually holds it to the waist. But when you lead by example, you actually show the kids that, yes, manners are acceptable. Saying the words, yelling snitches is not allowed. Oh man. Cursing is not allowed. Wow. And we use the phrase, well, he should know better. Well, in my school, where some of the kids are from, they don't know better. That's what they see all the time. They don't see a positive male in the classroom. They don't see a positive male, period. Now, no disrespect to my ladies in my classroom, but they have a lot of examples throughout the school that they can look for. In my school, there are only 2 examples of the gentlemen to look for. And only one of them look like them. So I am held to a higher standard, which is fine. I rise to the occasion every now and again. But leading is not just saying to do something. It's actually putting it in place. And when they see the guy doing that, it works out in their favor. Thank you.